Hello everyone, Bobbin here. You're watching episode 6 of my C block playthrough in Factorio. I haven't really been mentioning the version here. This is version 0.16, so that's kind of relevant. At some point, Factorio will be upgraded, and I may or may not upgrade all the software at that point because it would probably necessitate starting over. In any case, I've been looking at this setup that I did in the last episode for how I'm going to do my algae farms and my carbon processing. And the algae farms I'm pretty satisfied with. This is a modular layout. I can just continue to stamp new ones down going off in this direction for as long as the inputs will hold up. The problem is I don't like this output here. And I've been thinking about how I'm going to rearrange it, and I have come up with a plan, and we're going to implement that in this episode. There are a couple of other things I want to take care of first, though. One is I've gotten quite a few stone bricks at this point, so I'm going to take and grab some of these, and I'm going to mark the location that I am sort of calling my bus for now. It's not necessarily going to be that over the long run, but I'm going to mark the area, and part of the goal of this setup here is to help keep me relatively neat. So let's go ahead and mark some of that so that I can see where it is. So we've got 4 lanes there, and we're going to skip 2 spaces, and I'm going to go ahead and put down 4 lanes here too. So there we go. And I can also run along this path if I want to run a little faster. There is enough room to put another 4 lanes here, and I will probably do that at some point. It will be especially conspicuous that there will be room once I get the carbon processing moved down. Now, in the interest of keeping things neat, there is something else I want to do. You notice I've got these labs and the setup just sort of over here. And up here, I've got a furnace set up, and I'm going to take it up now, but it's where I did my steel production earlier. And this brings up sort of a little organizational problem that keeps you from being neat about things. And I'm never neat about things. I make all kinds of messes. But I will, I want to make some sort of effort to stay a little neater. And that means that I don't have these sorts of little facilities just sort of scattered all over the place. So what I want to do is I want to set up what I'm going to call a workshop area. And in the workshop area, I will build these little haphazard one-off things for making small batches. Things that I need to do a little bit of something, like maybe I need to make a few circuits. That will come up pretty soon. But I don't want to have some sort of massive circuit setup going yet, because I haven't figured out where I'm going to put it, or I don't have space, or I'm not really at that point yet where I want to do that. So I'm going to set up some more land here to set up a workshop space, and we'll just grab a bunch of landfill here, and I'm just going to use this area. I'll keep this where it is for now. It will get moved. Other stuff will get moved out of here as I need the space. But we'll just plop down a bunch of landfill there. And so this is now Bobbin's workshop. So we've got the labs here, and when I do some more steel production, I can just set up that furnace back here somewhere again. And whatever little small task I need to do, I have a space set aside here for it, for those sorts of one-off setups. Okay, on the carbon, what I've decided I want to do is I'm going to temporarily move this steam engine. I should mention that power has been rock solid this whole time. It's looked like this, except for if I hit 1 hour, we're going to see where I actually broke the power connection and split the network and had to rejoin it when I fixed it. But you can see that we've got a number of things going on. Everything is just very steady. That's not too surprising, since almost all of the work going on right now is in fact the solar. The steam is only providing, well, over this 10-minute time period, it's provided 723 watts. Not kilowatts, not megawatts, just watts. So that's tiny. That's like the drain from one machine, or even less. So, but anyway, I'm going to go ahead and pull this up and move it probably over here just temporarily. I'll just stick it in the workshop. It's not going to stay in the workshop for very long. I'm certainly not going to be doing power generation there for any duration. But I need a spot to put it, so I'm just going to put it over here. And I don't want to hook up power to this just yet, so that is something to keep in mind. Do I want to even go all the way over there? Maybe not. Let's just put it. Let's put it a little closer to the belts that have the fuel on them. So I'll just take and plop it down here in this lane of what may eventually be the bus, at least in the short term. I don't think a bus architecture is going to work just extremely well for this mod pack. It might. I could be surprised, of course. But I think that eventually we're going to mostly have to go robots, and a lot of things will have to have dedicated facilities in order to get the sort of throughput that's necessary. And so just cramming everything onto a bunch of belts is probably not going to be the best approach. We'll see. So that needs to go that way, and I'll stick my inserter there, and we will have this up and going again. Yeah, it looks like it. No, it doesn't have power coverage. Let me come over here and stick one in the usual spot. There we go. Alright, so let me tear this down. And you can see here where I've already set up some belts. These belts are set up to sort of indicate what the inputs and outputs are going to be. And I've left a little extra space so I can add some extra belts if necessary. We're going to have one input, and that's going to be wood pellets. So they're going to be coming out of here. I did add a buffer on the wood pellets, by the way, because the production of them had stopped, and I wanted to keep producing them, build up some extra supply. Okay, so one input, and it's going to be wood pellets, 3 outputs. For now, one of these outputs is going to be unused, but there are going to be 3 items output. Those items are going to be charcoal, carbon, and a second belt that for now will contain carbon, but I'm going to call it fuel. And this is carbon for burning. And the reason I have a separate belt for that that's just the carbon is because I want to eventually probably change that to charcoal pellets. And I don't want to have to go and string a whole new belt. It's sort of dividing it up, not so much by the item that it has on it as by the function of the item it has on it. Carbon and charcoal, I'm going to designate space to have 2 belts doing that, but I'm probably only going to use one in the short term. I'll put carbon on one side and charcoal on the other, and the reason for that is because these items are used in additional recipes. If I go to FNEI and look at, first thing I want to look at, let's look at wood pellets. Wood pellets, and I want to look at what they're used for. There are only 2 recipes that use them. One of them is carbon dioxide, and the other is wood bricks. So wood bricks is part of our fuel cycle. It's one of our intermediates. So that's kind of an interesting thing going on. Now, wood bricks also only have 2 uses. One is for charcoal, and the other is for small electric poles. So I don't really want to ship wood pellets all around the base because they have very little use aside from fuel production. And small electric poles, which I'm probably always just going to be able to carry them around and craft them as needed by hand. So there's that. Now, if we look instead at charcoal. Charcoal has 22 uses listed, so it's used for a lot of things. And if we look at, and they're not all fuel. And if we look at carbon, it's more or less the same story. Carbon is used for 24 different things, so I'm going to want to ship carbon around. So these have a lot of uses besides just burning them. On the other hand, I do have to have something that I'm just burning, and I need to put it on a line somewhere so I can get it to various places. For the time being, that's carbon. So let's go ahead and get this going. The first thing I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to plan my carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is using the wood pellet input, and let's get this sort of moved out of the way. What I want to do is set it up so that it's going in down here. So it'll go there, and we can pull it in from there. And I set up some additional liquefiers. Oh, did I just tell it to craft one? I don't want to craft one. I've got some somewhere. Here we go. So these can just sort of be crammed together down here. Eventually I'm going to leave space for 4 of them, maybe even more, to extend down a little bit. But there will be space for multiples. For the moment, I'm not going to actually use all that space. Let me instead just stamp the locations so that I know they're there. And I can stamp one there too. Alright. But I'm just going to leave one in place because I don't want all of those. I don't need so many of them at the moment. And I'm going to use a splitter, and I'm going to use the priority capability on the splitter to make sure these get fed first before anything else. So, do I want to use inserters with these is the real question. And personally, I'd rather not, because I think that inserters are kind of slow. They're not going to do for me what I would really like for them to do. So let's go ahead and plan it not using inserters. To do that, I'll need a little bit more space out here. I think I've got it like that. And then here we'll put another inserter, or splitter. I'm calling them inserters. I have no idea why I'm doing that. Okay, and that can just go down that way as needed. Probably not going to keep that belt all that way down, but that's just sort of the illustrative principle. I can continue to extend that. Okay, so this is going to go out. We're looking down at it, so the sense of right and left is reversed. So we're going to have output priority. This one isn't going to do that. It's this one where we're going to worry about it. So it's actually the bottom is on the right. So output priority is going to go right. And then this will continue on this way. Then we're going to repeat the process over here. And I will go ahead and put in the necessary resources to do it. We'll put that there. And then we're going to need one, probably right here. So let's move that to here. And on this one, we're also going to prioritize outputting just like this one, so that we get our wood pellets going down that way. And this is to make sure that we get our carbon dioxide going. Carbon dioxide has to have higher priority. If you don't give it higher priority, you can start making everything into carbon, and the whole thing will shut down when the algae farms are getting starved for carbon dioxide. So continuing out this way, we'll have some of the rest of the production. There's going to be a little wasted space right here. I'm not too concerned about that. Let's go ahead and test this out. I'll just put a chest down right there, and we'll put a loader on it and put a few wood pellets in it. Do I have any wood pellets? I don't. Carbon dioxide. I need power up here. So more than just a tiny test, that's for sure. Grab some wood pellets out of here. I think 35 will do for the moment. We'll put them in the chest, and what we should see is that every last one of them goes down into this machine. None of them continue down the line. So good. There we go. Actually, not every last one will go into this machine. Some of them are going to pretend they're going to go on to the next machine if there was one there. That's fine though. And we're getting carbon dioxide out of this thing. It's filled the line. So we can now take and remove this machine because I don't need it anymore. And we can remove this part of the carbon dioxide supply. This one is going to run out in a little bit. Probably not anytime soon. There's plenty of fuel on the belt for this machine. Alright, so now I just need to get this stuff down to here because I don't want it on to go through here anymore. There's plenty of buffer on the belt. Nothing's going to run out of fuel in the short term. Alright, so I'm just going to run it down here and into there. Okay. These are going to have to come out over here like that. For the moment, I'll leave them disconnected. Alright. So the next step that's going to happen is the carbon bricks. And that I'm going to go ahead, and this one is going to be a non-priority split. We've filled all this out now. Splitters. I'm out of splitters again. Alright. Pick up some more metal over there. I'm sorry for the zooming in and out. I know that when I zoom way out like that, it's hard to see. It's kind of a habit, though. Not going to need this just at the moment. So I think what I'm going to do with these is I'm going to set it up as like a sort of a, like this up here is a little bit of a bus, and I have repeating units of production on these items. So I'll show you what that actually means when I get a splitter in here. So we're going to split off again. It's a little crowded with the splitters and the belts, but these over here do have a different priority than these, and I don't want to start grabbing off of this supply with this lower priority stuff. Do I have a... I don't. Okay, let's go ahead and pick up the wood brick factory, and we'll put it over here like... I can actually take and just cram it right up next to here. I don't think that's a problem. Oh, you know... Yeah, it'll go right there because I don't need to bend this down and send it down. This is the only machine of these that's actually going to be using the output of this. So I'll just put a loader in there right there, and we will set this to wood bricks. There we go. Alright, this is going to need power. Thankfully I have some wood bricks so I can make some power poles. And the output of this is actually just going to immediately go into a furnace. Right, I have one. Here we go. There. And so this is going to be producing, we're going to use carbon for fuel in this, and it's going to be producing our, it just smelts our wood bricks, like so. Now, that's producing charcoal, and it's going to send it out up here. And I need a few more belts. And it's going to be outputting on a belt. It may not be in that exact position. In fact, I don't think it will be. I'll have to think about that. Because we're using a loader and just merging the belts, it's on the near side of the belt. That's kind of handy. Let me do a little landfill here because I'm out of space. Gonna be very neat and square it all up. Kind of pointless. Alright, so the next step here is carbon. And for the carbon, I need to, let's see. I would kind of prefer to go ahead and load it in using this mechanism. Let me rearrange this just a little bit because I think I can do this better. I'll keep that there, but I'll pick this up like that. And I need to make sure I don't disconnect the power down here. Let's remove the power poles. This piece I'm going to extend a little differently. I can do I really want to waste the effort on an underground here? I don't think I do. I think I can take and do it this way. And we'll take this and set it up to be an output there. And this will come down wrong direction. And we can use the oh, come on. Am I out of these things again already? Now that I think about it, this isn't quite what I want. I need to move this down one more. Because I don't want that there. I want to make sure that I control what side I put that on. Alright. Man, I am just getting so confused here. Alright. I know basically what I want to do. I want to have them all lined up. I actually want the this in the middle, and I want this at the bottom. And the reason I want that is because I want to be able to grab fuel from here without actually doing anything. I want the fuel to be available from this machine. So let's see if we can do that with the way I've got it right now, and I will tweak things if I have to. So we'll just take and put that there for moving fuel out of this machine into this one. But normally the charcoal will come out of this machine and go in this one. And in that case, I actually want it to be fast. So I need a little more space to do a loader there to ship it up fast enough. So maybe I do actually want the underground belt here because I don't want to really make it messy with a lot of extra stuff going on. if I have the underground belt there, then I can move this over here, and it's aligned with that. And let's see. All right, I'm going to go ahead and figure out how this is really supposed to work, and I'll jump back. It's going to be very similar to this, I think, but not quite. Okay, let's see how this works. This is awfully messy looking, but I actually think it's not too terrible to design. It can certainly be tiled in various ways with just a little extra work. What I've got going on here is we have wood bricks or wood pellets come in here. They get made into wood bricks. Those get ejected out of here and go down into the furnace, which is going to need a small amount of carbon to initially fuel it. So we'll put some of that in there. The furnace output then goes to, it sort of looks like it might be going into the splitter, but it doesn't. It comes out the back over here and comes around and goes through the splitter. The priority on this splitter is to send it into this machine right here, which is going to make it into carbon. Now, some of the carbon can come directly out of this machine and go back into the furnace. We might have a problem there with the this not being fast enough to grab any of it. That is certainly a possibility. It does generate 3 carbon at once, though, so there is some shot. We'll just have to see how that works. I'm hoping that it won't be a problem, and if it is a problem, I'll have to come up with another solution. But there's a little room to shift this back and forth in here if I need to, so that may be a saving grace at some point, because I might be able to work a belt around. Alright, the carbon comes out of here and goes on these. Now, the charcoal in the meantime has come up here. The carbon gets split into 2 streams. One of these is going to go directly onto this belt that does carbon only. The other one is going to go and merge with the charcoal line to form one line that is charcoal and on one side and carbon on the other, and it's going to get shipped out. Let's see how this works. I may end up deciding this thing is not going to work. It really depends on how this thing gets fueled. But we'll go ahead and get that going there. That's going to start the wood brick process. In order to get the carbon to function, I do have to bring some CO2 in. Let's go ahead and take care of that. So where are my pipes? Here we go. So we'll put one there and come up this way. And I'll just bring it up to... That's a little bit of an issue because I can't get it over here. I don't have room to bring it in that way. And I can't... Yeah, I don't have room to bring it in that way. Just long enough to see that it works. I'll extend it through here and we'll worry about that some other time. So I did see a carbon come out of here and go in there. We are producing carbon, not enough excess charcoal yet. It will have to fill this machine and back up before any of it will go this way. But we've got one belt that's all carbon and one belt that's half carbon and should eventually have charcoal on the other side. So I'm kind of confident that's working. Let's bring the belts along over here. And I'm out of belts. Let me make a bunch, and in the meantime I'll come up here and salvage all of this operation because I don't need any of this anymore. And I am, for the moment, I probably need more landfill before I can put my boiler where I want to. So let me go ahead and bring this up. I'll just connect it here. And there will be no running out of carbon on the boiler. What I'm actually going to do is fill in some of this area and go down below all this, and I will have the a line of boilers down here and have that set up there. The reason for that is there's a certain pattern that I use quite a bit. It's particularly for like ore crushing and smelting, where your input goes in, you have some long thing that's segmented in its architecture, and you can extend it on the end, and the input and the output go in and out the same side. And then you can build another one of these stacks right next to it that consumes the resources, the output of the one, and produces it into the other. And that's basically what's going on here. You kind of have mineral water coming in on the left here, and then the wood pellets exit on the left, and they just go down to the next one. You have the wood pellets going in on the left, and then the charcoal or the carbon coming out on the left. And that gives you freedom to just sort of extend this back however far you need to in terms of adding additional segments. So that's kind of a nice architecture. I'm sure most of you watching this video will probably be familiar with it. But that's sort of the idea here. And I'll do the same thing down here with the boilers. So you can sort of imagine fuel coming down here and going in on the left, and electricity coming out on electricity. It doesn't really apply to as much on, but you can imagine electricity coming out on the left. Okay, so that takes care of this, and I was hoping to maybe get just a little further along. I will give you a little preview of what is coming in the next episode. I'm going to go ahead and move this boiler down into position between episodes. I'll build a little land here, and I will show you that when I get back in. But next episode is going to be washing, because we need to get some sulfur so we can start to improve our metal production. And so washing will be the next thing to go down here, and we'll get some of this stuff set up then. We might get as far as changing our metal method over here. I kind of doubt it, but I will go ahead and tell you that it's a high priority, because this thing where we're making metal out of mineral water is extremely inefficient compared to what happens once you get a sulfur cycle going on, and you can use the crystallizers to directly crystallize the particular things you want. We'll have more ores available, and we'll be able to generate them with fewer resources. So that is today's episode. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.